Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order and I'll just read the land acknowledgement first. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditions, territories upon which we live, work, and play, and learn, are steeped in rich Indigenous histories and traditions. It is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways, and resources. So instead of moving to adopt the agenda as it is, we're just going to move up item 5.2. So we can start with that first, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the meeting as it's laid out.
So we can still go ahead and adopt the agenda first and do the adoption of the minutes, and then we'll,
Sure.
and just do 5.2 before 5.1, please.
Okay. Can I get someone to adopt the agenda? Make a motion for that? Can't see anybody.
I will.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay, and seconded by anybody who would like to.
I will.
Okay, thanks, Deb. All in favor? That's carried. So we'll start off with the first presentation.
Is that me, Alice?
Yes.
We would do adoption of the
ahead.
minutes first. We need to do adoption of the minutes first, Linda. We're still following the order.
Okay.
No, we just did the agenda. So now it's declaration of pecuniary interest and then adoption of the minutes.
Okay.
And then 5.2.
Okay, I thought we were going to have her speak first and then deal with the
in the general information items.
Yeah. Okay, so any declarations of pecuniary interest by anybody in the committee? If none, then we will move to item 4, adoption of the minutes. And can I get a mover for adoption of the minutes? Deb?
I'll move.
Seconded by Lindsay. Did you want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. Seconded by Lindsay. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay. So now we can move on to 5.2.
Okay, so I'm just going to provide some information in regards to the film screenings, potentially having them. So in terms of, I know that I think Alice had mentioned pricing before. The way it works for these events typically are they're each priced individually, and the pricing varies based on the date, the venue capacity, the expected attendance, the film title. There's a whole bunch of different variables, but generally the price goes from $350 to $600 for a free community screening. Now, if you were to charge ticket prices, then the fees do go up. There's 2 main film licensing companies that you interact with, and one of them has kind of represents some of the like the Disney movies and that sort of thing. They tend to charge a little bit higher fees. Then there's another company called Criterion, and their fees start at $375, but they do allow you to charge entry fee to recoup the cost that you pay for the film. And then anything above that, you would keep 65% of any profits, and then you would have to remit the rest back to them. The other thing that they did tell me about is they do offer something called an annual license, which for us would be around $1,000 and $1,013, I believe. And then that gives you to access to their online catalog, which is about 7,000 films. And then you could then provide essentially unlimited indoor screenings of any of those films as often as you want. Another thing to mention is we are doing a film screening of Moana 2 at Grace Tippling Hall next week as like a March break community screening. And we did have people reserve tickets for that through Eventbrite. And I think we have about 140 tickets have been reserved already.
Do we know what the
And
price?
then Alice,
was
sorry.
are? Do you know what the pricing was for the ticket?
The pricing for that was $475 for that screening. It is considered what they call a pre-release because it's not available on video yet. So that was a little bit more. That is one other thing to note with the annual license that any pre-releases or items like that would be an additional cost.
Is there a charge for Eventbrite if we decide to go that route?
If the tickets are free, then there's no charge from Eventbrite. And then Alice, I don't know, did you have that list of movies that you wanted to share, or is that something that you want to do with them later?
Yeah, so there is a list as an attachment to the agenda of some movies that we thought would be appropriate for the 3 different time frames that you're looking at. That doesn't mean you have to choose from one of these movies, but just because Jessica had everything organized and set up for Moana 2, just thought it'd be a good idea for her to come and just speak to this so that if you had any questions about it, you could direct it to her now. Otherwise, we can carry on and she doesn't need to stick around. It's up to you if you have questions or comments for her.
Doesn't seem like anybody has any questions at the moment.
Yeah, no.
Fairly
Perfect.
straightforward.
Oh, I guess one other thing I could, yep, sorry.
What did you say? Tell me again what the price was for the license, and is that per year or is that forever?
For the annual license, which gives you access to their online streaming platform. And they said there's about 7,000 films. It's just over $1,000, and that's an annual license.
Yeah. So about $200 per movie.
If you were to show 5
if we're
movies,
looking
yeah,
at about 5 per year.
right.
Okay. Okay.
The other option that you do have as well is you can always ask for donations if it's a free screening, and then that wouldn't count as a ticket sale as far as they are concerned.
Okay. That's not bad. That's a good idea.
Anybody else have any other questions?
No. I guess like there's 7 sort of like you said 7,000 movies, so I'm assuming that's going to be very broad spectrum of genres and like family and adult and kids and cartoon and not cartoon and I'm assuming like new and old kind of thing. Like just they wouldn't be pre-releases.
Correct. Yeah. So they do have like really old kind of black and white films to things that are a little bit newer. Sorry, child. So for instance, there is a Minecraft movie, I believe it's called Minecraft. Yeah, it comes out on April 4th in theaters. So say if you were looking to do one in August, there's the potential that is probably available to screen then. But they do have an online catalog that you can kind of plug in a name and search up. They also have like kind of resources that show like these are our holiday films, these are our Halloween films. And so they do have a couple different catalogs there. So I can share that link with Alice to pass on to you guys too that you can look at.
Perfect. That would be great. Cause yeah, I mean,
Oh.
obviously there's a few ideas that we were thinking for specific, like Halloween, specific Christmas, right? Like I'm sure we'd love to, do something fun like the Elf or, for Christmas, or, we had talked about the Rocky Horror Picture Show for Halloween. Now that's obviously more for adults, but maybe we could do 2 movies in October at that point because, like you said, it's unlimited screening at that point, right? So
Right.
we could do a kids movie, during the day on a Saturday maybe, and then at night is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that would be cool. Yeah, I kind of like that idea of sort of having a pretty big, library to choose from whenever we want. So that seems like a little bit, in my opinion, it seems like a good value, for a bang for our buck, I guess you could say, at $1,000, right? So, yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out, I guess, moving forward, but that's a cool option. Thank you.
I could
for
just
that.
would add one, sorry, other thing that you just reminded me when I was speaking with the lady. She did mention that it is the 50-year anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show this year.
Ooh,
However, because of that, that is not included in the annual license. It would be an additional screening fee for this year.
gotcha. And
But-
probably just for this year then, because of that.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Go figure. Like,
So-
always something. But I mean, even
And-
like for Christmas too, right? Like there's other movies as well. There's like, Home Alone is a classic, right? There's
Mhm.
also older classics like Miracle on 34th Street and whatever the hell that one is with Jillian, and he's got the angels and the bell rings. I don't know. But
Yeah, those ones I think are on there. Elf is
Yeah.
on there. Polar Express, Home Alone was all on there. Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, Beetlejuice 1 and 2,
perfect.
Adam's Families. So it does have a good selection.
Excellent.
So yeah.
That's great.
And
That's
one
cool.
thing Jessica and I talked about too, was exactly what you said, Lindsay, potentially doing a family movie in the afternoon and then adults movie in the evening. There is some additional cost potentially with that because if we allow popcorn or snacks
Right.
in Grace Tippling Hall, somebody is going to have to do a cleanup between the first show and the second show. So there's going to be an operational cost or, there is, so Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are allowing popcorn at the screening of Moana 2. And that's going to
Correct.
kind of be our test run is it feasible to have snacks at these movies or not? So that's
Right.
going to kind of be the test run so that the committee doesn't have to be the test run.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I mean, secondary to that, if it is okay and it does work, that's something, us as a committee we could do as well, right? Like I have a popcorn machine, so we could sort of make it ourselves and either offer the, a small bag for, each kid for free or we charge a small fee and we recoup that money to kind of pay for the person who's cleaning in between. So, I mean, it might not pay for the whole thing, but at least it would cover some costs, right? So, and we would have very minimal, fee involved in that but then again, like I said, that's just my thought, but there's always public health involved in that and things of that nature as well when you're now starting to offer food. So maybe the better option is they bring their own prepackaged. I'm not sure. That's something we'd have to talk about, but yeah, no, I think that's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much for looking into it.
Yep, no problem.
And so the
Okay.
list of movies that are
Oh.
attached to the agenda are just some samples that we looked at that are all available based on some of the conversations that you had had at previous meetings. We looked for some examples. So we've tried to pick a variety of newer movies and older movies for each potential option.
Now, there are a couple on that list, Alice, that because we got the information about the annual licensing after that was put together. Some of those are essentially Disney movies. which is from the other licensing company, so they wouldn't be included in the annual license. I did reach out to them for their pricing for an annual license. And it would be based on the number of film screening, and it is significantly higher. I think around $2,700.
So then it's cheaper to just stick to the one-offs like you're considering.
Right.
And I guess that annual fee would start whenever we sign up, kind of thing, right? And it would
Yeah,
run.
from the year to
Okay.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know sometimes there's things out there where, like, associations that you have to join up with, but you pay the same fee, but they start on like January. So if you miss the sign up in January, you sign up in March, yeah, you still have to pay the same fee.
Yeah.
But you don't get, the whole year. So that's good to know that it's calendar year to, day to day kind of thing. Okay.
Anybody have
So-
any other questions or comments?
No, I think
Perfect.
otherwise
No,
you're
Yeah.
good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
thank you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, so we adopted the agenda already
Mhm.
and the declaration of pecuniary interest, so item 4, I don't think we did the adoption of minutes.
No, you did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
Okay.
You're good. Yeah.
Oh, it's the
So
end of
did
June.
anyone have any thoughts about the movies that were on the agenda? Or did you want to look further down the rabbit hole of the whole catalog?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to look at everything.
I agree.
Okay, so I will send out it is in the chat right now, but I will make sure that that link gets sent to you, and then we can re-add this discussion because I know you said you wanted to choose movies so that we could start advertising for the Fridays in the Park and
Yeah.
for your event in June. So we really need to have the choices done
I mean, I kind of think
shortly.
from the August movies, like, honestly, any of these are awesome. So, if we're thinking, okay, maybe we want to hold off a little bit for, the movies that are later into, like, October and December, until we see the full catalog. I kind of agree with that. That's fine with me. But, as you mentioned, Alice, we're looking at trying to make sure that we have something so we can start advertising right away. Like, we won't meet again now until April, right? So we have to remember that. So if we also are not ready in April, then it's May. So,
Yeah.
we're really we got to remember that we only meet once a month. So it's hard when we push things, we push them. And then, sometimes we don't make quorum, right? So then if we don't make quorum in April, or we don't make quorum, and I actually won't be here in April because I'll be in Mexico. So the first week of April, I won't be here. So that could then affect quorum, which will push us to May. And then if we don't have a decision in May, that pushes us to June. So, I mean, personally, Dogman is huge with kids. If we're looking at a kids movie for August, Dogman is massive. So is Minecraft. So I think, those two would be a hit for sure. I can't say Goonies is awesome, but that's nostalgia. That's 80s. I don't know what we're looking to do in August at that point, but Rio is awesome as well as a cartoon movie. It's kind of musical. It's fun. It's colorful. Very festive, as if in the summer, right? So it goes along with the summer and being in the rain, based in the rainforest. So yeah, really, I think we could probably pick one off of this list tonight, just so that we have one for August, just in case. Again, we have to push this because we miss quorum, or we show up and just nobody has a decision made for what we want to do. But I agree. We'll look at the link, and October's and December's, we can decide that a little later, right? We can decide that in June or July once we have a full look at the list.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
agree.
just my opinion. That's That's just my opinion.
Ideally, you do want to advertise all three together,
Oh.
right?
That-
Because if you
well, that
are
puts it in the wrong
printing,
idea.
right, if you are printing anything, like if we're putting something in the water bills or in the newspaper on the town page, or if you're doing a flyer like you previously talked about at your Fridays in the park, the original conversation with the committee was to choose all three so you can advertise all three so that people are aware this is a continuous, not a one-time thing. If you've changed your mind on that, that's fine, but that
Right.
was the previous conversation.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Where all these come from?
Okay. So that could be harder
Open
then.
the money in there already.
So we're picking
You
three?
have 5 months before August.
If I could, Linda,
Yeah,
I would suggest that we because we have to start the advertising, why don't we just pick the three tonight?
yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, for August movies, I would suggest either Dogman, Minecraft, or Luca. All three of those are fantastic and fantastic for the kids. That huge draw, I'm sure. For Halloween movies, I would suggest Hocus Pocus, Beetlejuice, and probably Ghostbusters to choose from. Christmas movies, Elf, Polar Express, and probably, well, Rudolph is a short one, as is Santa Claus. Could we do both of those together, or would that be the cost of one each?
It would be the cost of one each.
Of course. Okay,
Unless
so then I
you
would
do-
suggest we don't look at those. So for Christmas, I would recommend personally Elf, Polar Express, or Home Alone.
I think Home Alone would be good. See it all the time, but it's still fun.
I know, it's one of my favorites. I love it as well. But I also love Elf. So I always say I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, but then I list off a whole bunch of movies that I do actually like that he's in. So I guess I kind of am a Will Ferrell fan, but I'm in denial. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Kyle. I don't mind either of those either. I love them all, so I think they would all be a hit.
Anybody have any other comments that are not in relation to those particular three?
I'm
Yeah,
good with any of them.
Pardon?
I said I'm good with any of them.
Okay.
Okay, but the problem is that we have to pick one for each of
Mhm.
those spots, do we not?
Mhm.
So
So can I just add here, I'm just logging on to that website that she sent over because when this list was created, it was prior to knowing that we could get the annual fee as opposed to paying for each one individually. So let me just double check that all three of the ones for August, I'll just pick. Minecraft is not coming up, so it might be on the other side of things.
It might still be too new.
mhm.
Mhm.
And
So,
dog-
and newer ones aren't always included in the annual fee either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm worried Dogman might not actually be on there either because that's like just came out.
Well, and that's my thing is that a lot of the parents will be taking their kids to see these new movies at the
That's true.
theater. So
Yeah, that's
maybe
true.
picking something that's a little bit older that, they didn't just go to the show to see it in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So for August, my recommendation would be Luca, mainly because it was a big hit when it came out, but it's mostly forgotten at this point.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never heard of
honestly,
it.
I don't think I've ever seen Luca.
I haven't either. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
really cute.
It's
Yeah?
a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've seen it?
On
Yeah.
Disney Plus.
I don't know how Jeff's seen it, but he's seen it. He watches movies without me. Okay, I mean, I would vote Luca then too.
And I'm pretty
Okay.
sure Luca is a Disney one, so it would not be on the annual fee one, it would be in the one-off one.
Oh,
Which this is good because,
Okay.
and that's okay, because if you're picking Disney ones, then the annual fee isn't going to necessarily be the best thing for you anyway, right? And if these are $300 or $400, you're only doing three, you're just about at the same
Right.
yeah.
cost as
Yeah.
the annual fee, right?
Right.
So
For here.
pick based on what you want. knowing that the cost could be $300 to $500 for each movie, we can double check the cost and ensure that it's going to fit your budget, right?
Okay, so how about we pick two
give
then?
me your top two.
Yeah.
And we'll go with the cheaper
Yeah.
of each of the two that you're picking. And you
Okay.
can direct me that way in the resolution if everybody's comfortable with that. Pick
Yeah.
two. And if they're the same price, I go with the first choice.
Okay, that sounds fair to me.
For August, I would say Luca, and I still love Goonies.
I
Really.
know, me too. Those are my vote. That's my vote too.
I
I'm
haven't
good with
seen
it.
Goonies, so I'll go along with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
for Halloween, just to keep things moving along rather quickly, I would suggest Ghostbusters, and a second choice for me on that one would probably be Hocus Pocus because I feel Nightmare Before Christmas is a little early.
Yeah.
And do you want
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus 1 or Hocus Pocus 2?
Number 2 sucked. I would say 1.
Okay.
I know. I was like, yeah, one is better. I also really like Beetlejuice though. And
I like Beetlejuice.
I know.
Okay, so
I
yeah,
know.
so why don't we have Beetlejuice and Ghostbusters as our two choices for that one?
Okay, so Ghostbusters is number one, Beetlejuice number two.
And just
I'm
clarifying,
good
are
either
we
way.
adding an adult show of Rocky Horror Picture
Oh.
Show in the
I mean, I would
evening
love
for
to, but-
October?
I would love to, but I don't know that we have enough time to do what we were talking about. The idea of the Rocky Horror Picture Show is the full spectacular.
Experience.
So we need
Yeah.
the full experience. In order to do that, we need to coordinate with the performing arts
So
organizations.
okay, but not doing the full experience, just watching the movie. That's not what you want to do.
I wouldn't
Okay.
suggest so. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from it when I watched it in university.
Honestly,
Oh my
like
God.
I know I'm gonna sound weird, but I love it. I always have. I don't know why, but I
No,
do.
that makes
just-
sense actually.
I just think it's fun.
No, totally Lindsay movie. I get
Yeah.
it.
I dressed up once and went to the theater to
Yeah, no,
watch it.
everyone,
So,
all my roommates really loved it, but I was sitting there in horror.
You're
well,
horrified.
your religion kind of sort of makes sense why you would be.
I was like, oh my God, what the heck? What
Yeah,
did I do?
it's weird. I'll tell you, it's weird. Yep, for sure.
But yeah, I can get it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
for Halloween, I think we're looking at Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters. I really don't have a preference on which is number 1, number 2.
I know me either. Maybe just use your discretion, Alice. I don't, unless somebody has a really strong opinion as to what should be 1 and 2.
Okay.
All right. So just those are your options. Just go with what you feel. Because they're both
Christmas
awesome.
movies?
We won't mind. We won't mind.
Christmas
They're both
movies,
awesome.
I think Elf and Home Alone is what everybody pretty much
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Which one
Elf and-
first?
I would say Elf first,
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And then Home Alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to reiterate, and correct me if I'm wrong on the order, for August, I have Luca and then Goonies.
Yep.
For October, I have, in no particular order, Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice.
Yep.
For December, I have Elf and Home Alone.
Yes.
And we'll go with whichever one is the cheaper of the two for a free showing.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would like to see, I don't know,
Even a
personally,
donation to the food bank.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
a
like
good
to do,
idea.
yeah.
Right,
like,
we
I'd
can
like to
do
something-
donations as part of a free showing.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
I
then we
just,
can-
I don't need to know about the donations part for getting the pricing of the movie. I do need to know if it's free or if you're charging a fee.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I mean, I think our first year, we can judge sort of how popular it is and then decide, moving forward with next year, if we want to do something that helps with a little bit more of a fundraising, or, if it's a newer movie, maybe we do a sort of a charge or ticket event. But I guess that all stems back to what we do with regards to if we do a yearly licensing, right? Then we would just likely keep it free at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's it's something we're trying to do for the community, so I kind of think they should be free.
So then I would need that in the form of a resolution, Linda.
Okay.
Okay. Linda, did you want to make that resolution?
Yeah, sure. So basically just that we as the committee approve the selection. Do we have to sort of approve the selection there?
I'll put in the resolution, the
Okay.
choice of the movies, that
Okay.
it's going to be the cheaper of the two for a free showing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll
for free
second
show.
that.
Okay.
All in favor? That's carried. Okay, now did we miss the walking tour brochure before that? or-
Correct. Now we would go to the walking tour brochure.
Yeah. So, discussion about the brochures for the future and the QR code.
Yeah.
So the walking tour brochure has been added to the agenda. The QR code has been added to the brochure. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was happy with the way the brochure looked with the QR code on the brochure. And if you are happy with it, if you wanted to direct staff to look into costs for printing, or if you wanted to look into costs for printing.
Well, maybe we can have staff look into it. You may have more access to various companies.
Yeah. I mean, as long as, staff's okay with that, I don't want to
Yeah.
overly burden them with anything. So, I mean, I'm sure if that's the case, like one of us can, or I can look in.
We will get the quotes. We can get the quotes.
Okay.
I just need to know that you're happy with the addition of the QR code
Mhm.
and that you're satisfied with the brochure. Previously, it was printed on a very heavy duty,
Yes.
thick paper. It was done in partnership with the museum. I will get quotes based on printing it on the same type of paper,
Okay.
so that it's similar to what we've had in the past. I will bring those quotes to a future meeting. Any idea on quantities?
I mean, I
I-
guess it sort of
Maybe go ahead.
depends on the quotes.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna
yeah,
say,
but you
see
gotta
where the
get-
price
Yeah,
break
well,
is.
Exactly. What I would suggest, being in the industry, I mean, I really don't see us handing a lot of these out. Everybody's gone digital on everything nowadays.
Mhm.
So I would suggest if we look at printing, say 250 is usually a good break point to start with, and
Yeah.
500 is probably another one.
Yeah, I honestly agree, Kyle. I was thinking 500 to be honest. But like you said, that it could be a little high.
So
if
why
the-
don't we get a quote for both?
Yeah,
And then see.
we got to give numbers for them
to.
to.
More.
Yeah,
Maybe
we've
it's like-
got to get numbers for them to quote. So realistically, I would be shocked if we hand out 500 of these. I'd actually be shocked if we hand out 250.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
was,
because it is partnership with the museum, some of them could go to the museum as well.
Which is good.
and I was thinking they could go into restaurants too, like people come to town, go to, Beyond the Gate or
Yeah.
wherever. And they could be at the cash that, anybody just coming into town might wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
That
good idea.
Even with that, I don't think that we're going to need more than 250, personally.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. But yeah, so I would say grab the quotes for 250 and 500 because we may luck out and it might not be that much more to just get the 500 regardless, right? So, yeah.
The only other thing with that in mind is storage. The ones that don't get distributed, we have to store stuff.
Yeah, of course. I think we have some room in the basement that
Yeah.
we should be okay. It's probably only a couple of boxes.
I've got buttons and keychains and what's a few brochures for the committee as well.
Exactly. Well, we just need a little room, just a little corner for the arts and culture like heritage, right?
Yeah.
This is our spot.
Okay.
I love it though. It looks beautiful. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's so nice to have something like this. I feel like this is a little bit unique to Shelburne. I really don't think there's a lot of other towns that have created something like this. So I would love to, really get it out there so people can see it, because it is really cool.
So do you want to move on to the next one? The movie nights, I think we've already discussed that, so.
Do we need any resolution, like motion or anything else for you to look into the quotes for us? Is that okay? That's just discussions are all right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so 5.3, Canadian Language Museum Traveling Language Exhibits Update. We have an update?
Yes, sorry. I was on another screen. I had to flip back. So I did get confirmation from the Canadian Language Museum that the exhibit entitled Cree, the People's Language, which is the most widely spoken Canadian Aboriginal language, is available for the week of September 30th. One of the things that I was asked at the last meeting was to ask if they could go outside, and the answer on that was no.
Okay.
They did allow an outside exhibit once, and unfortunately the panels were damaged. So they cannot go outside. They do have to be indoors. So we would just have to work with town staff to determine the best location based on the fact that there is also art in the gallery for September. So we can't block the art in the gallery in
Right.
relation to what's going on. But I did talk to the CAO, who is the staff member that sits on the DEI committee, and she was open to it being a part of that event. So the cost for the panels is $200 for a week. Originally, in the first email, she told me that shipping back and forth was included in that price, but now she's indicating that shipping is not included in that price, that we would be responsible for shipping. And she didn't indicate the size of, like, I mean, we know the size of the panels, but their packaging for shipping, but she did indicate that it could be about $300 for shipping each way with Purolator. However, the town does have a government account with Purolator, so we do get discounted rates.
Okay.
So,
Where
but
are they
that
coming
does,
from?
they're coming from Toronto.
Okay.
For $300, I'll drive down and pick them up.
I know, right? And that's each way. So when you take them back, you get 6, right? Oh my goodness. I was thinking, I was like, wow, that's expensive for shipping.
Yeah.
Holy jeez.
But I think it's
Ugh.
because, you've got probably 6 boxes.
Yeah.
Potentially 7, because this one actually also includes setup for audio clips where individuals can listen to the different Cree dialects
Okay.
across Canada.
Cool.
That's good.
So,
Okay,
it's a
thinking about
neat,
$1,000.
so it'd be about $1,000 altogether, which is more than we had originally discussed. At this point, it's just open,
Right.
if we can drop it off and pick it up ourselves and save some money there.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to have a truck or something, or a van or something.
Yeah. In time. And depending on where it is in Toronto, because it could be a nightmare down there. I mean, I still like it. Like, I still wouldn't mind giving it a go for this year. And if it doesn't seem to be popular, or we really haven't noticed anyone kind of, coming in to look at it or whatever, then we reassess for next year, right? But sometimes it's nice to try things once.
How much money do we have in our budget? I'm just trying to remember.
Sorry, Kyle, we're not sure if you're talking to us because you are muted.
Sorry, guys. Personally, I really, really like it. I think that if it fits within our budget, we really should go for it.
And maybe, like you said, maybe we can save a little bit on the shipping. We can review that a little bit more. But at least, we can make the resolution that if we have to, worst case, then yes, we pay for the shipping. But we maybe can work around that a little bit or get a discount by using the town, which might not make it as much as well. So I don't think it'll take a whole lot off, but even if it takes $100 or $200 off the shipping, then that's still
What's
something.
our total budget? What have we got to work with right now?
I don't have the budget pulled up. It would take me a few minutes to access it.
Just
so
like a
give me
rough
minute.
idea in terms of how much money we would have left when we're paying
Right.
for this.
Right.
Well, the original budget for the year, I believe, was 15,000, was
Okay.
it not?
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
you know, we've still got part of the mural expense, but that's
Yeah.
less than $1,000 still to go. But you have 2 more murals that you want
Yes.
to do.
Right.
So that's another 3,000. You've given 2,500 to the Ridge, the event in April. You
Oh,
did
yeah,
that at
that's
the
right.
last meeting.
That's right.
So that puts you just at about 5.5. Then you have the movies. So we're looking at about, if we say $1,200 to $1,500 for the movies,
Yeah.
that's
Just 2
about
days.
8. Then you have your municipal back lanes to do a few more signs for those final 3 names that have been approved there.
Okay.
I don't
Right.
know what that is going to cost.
Yeah, I was never
Um,
part of the committee when those went up, so. I'm
And
not
then
sure.
I feel like I'm missing something.
The
We have
art,
the-
the art
the
show,
show.
but is there a charge for the Ag Center?
Yeah, it's minimal. It's like $150.
Okay.
So, you know, the good thing is you haven't maxed out your budget yet,
Yeah.
but we do need to be cognizant of expenses going forward so that you don't max it out.
Yes, because
The
we're
good
getting
thing is
close.
too, is that we're already planning into December. So it's not like we're using 50% of the budget for the first half of the year. Like
Yeah.
we've got stuff that's going all the way out.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, so I think we're sitting okay. I think we're Gus. Stop it. At worst case, we're sitting at about 10. Right? So we still have 5-ish as a cushion. But yeah. We're actually spending. Oh my God, it's like exciting.
Well, looks like we're doing lots this year.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm shocked. I don't even have words because I'm like, we're actually doing stuff. Like, it's exciting. I mean, how many times have we gone to the end of the year and we're like, well, we've only spent $100. Like, it's like, now this year we actually need more because we're doing so much. It's almost like, darn it, we didn't ask for enough.
Well, we'll ask for more next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we here?
So I would
Yes,
need a
it's-
resolution
Yeah.
from the committee to enter into an agreement with the Canadian Language Museum for the traveling exhibit for that last week of September, if that's what the committee is indicating. And knowing that I will coordinate with them to see, can we drop off and pick it up to avoid those pure later costs?
Right.
So I will ask about that, but I do need that resolution
Okay,
to
so can I
enter
get
into
someone
the agreement
to-
to get it booked.
Okay,
Perfect.
can I get someone to make a motion to that effect?
Kyle's got his hand up.
Kyle and Deb seconding it? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Good. And then item 5.4, student art event update.
I got the brochure updated with all the changes that we had talked about. I've been busy working on the Highland Heights Breakfast Club Dance-a-thon that is tomorrow. So once it's over tomorrow, it's a huge fundraiser to provide Breakfast Club with some funds. I'll be going around to the different schools and dropping the flyers off and talking to the principals at that point. And so
Perfect.
that'll be next week that I'll deal with that. But the brochures are ready and printed, or the flyers.
Awesome. Awesome. Perfect.
So Deb, just a question then, do you think you'll have an update by the next meeting on
I'll
schools
give
that
you
are
an
open
update
to
before the
participating?
next meeting so you can put it in the
Agenda.
agenda.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. All right. Arts and Brews planning for 2026. Any comments or questions or updates on what we want to do, whether we want to continue on with that for next year, since we, got a lot going on this year.
I
I
don't
also
want to
have
put it
something you can
off. I
say.
really like the idea, but I mean, we're down to say $5,000 for cushion. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, something like this to do right, it's probably going to be expensive.
Yeah. So are you saying that we shouldn't do it or that we should think about it next year or what?
I think we should keep talking about it, but I don't think that we should have it planned for 2026. I don't know that we will have the budget for it. I don't want us to start going ahead thinking of it, but I think what we need to do is we need to start doing the plan to
Mhm.
figure out what things are going to cost.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me. Anybody else got any comments? Yes.
Just a caution with that, not taking away or discouraging that, because I agree with what Kyle's saying. It's important to keep having the conversation, but the committee only goes until October 2026. And the committee cannot make plans and tie a future committee to anything.
Right, okay.
Great.
I
No,
think
but
one of the things maybe sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's not for planning, but I mean, if we continue to have the conversations, Alice, we could have information for the following committee if
Yeah.
they so wish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody was being aware of how we can do this.
Yeah,
right.
I just figure, I mean, it's a great idea. I know that everybody's on board with wanting to do it. Time wise and finances, I don't want to push it, but at the same time, if we as a committee can get as much information as possible to pass on the torch, essentially, if the next committee decides to follow through, we've done a bunch of the work for them.
Yeah.
And I think having the conversation involves maybe talking about sponsorship, getting communities, involvement as far as, corporate sponsorship to help out with it.
Definitely.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep that in mind for future.
So do you want me to just keep it as a standing item on the agenda then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Otherwise we'll forget. New business, Dufferin Museum Center event.
Did you guys call me?
Tomorrow noon and send it to Jen.
Bella?
Yeah, did you guys call me? Sorry, I'm right here.
Yeah, I just wondered if you, do you want
Speak to the
to say anything about
the Muslim Center event.
that?
Oh yeah, and Alice, did you share my conflict of interest?
I did not, because it has to come from you.
Oh, got it. So I sent us email saying that there's a conflict of interest for me to vote on this issue because I'm also on the board. And I'm glad it's coming up now because my Ramadan prayers start at 7:45 there. So do you guys need me after this vote for anything? Oh, that's excellent. Great. They're only 7 minutes away, so I know I can make it. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay.
How do I share the screen?
So on the bottom, within your Zoom screen where you can see all of us, they're in the black border around it. There should be a share button.
It'll be green
Oh, yes.
probably.
Yes, I see it. Okay, okay, do you see it?
Yeah.
We do.
The problem is because it's so early, we don't actually have the actuals of the costs. Okay. And so this is and did everyone get the actual proposal itself?
No.
Yes, like we have like a some information like the type of the event, the budget of the event, and then what's being asked of the committee.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to pull up the document then and share that. It's right here. Can you guys see my files?
We can see it looks like the breakdown of some of
Okay.
the funds is what we see.
Okay,
right-
I'm gonna change it then because I thought maybe if I open this. Okay, I'm changing my share. I'm gonna stop sharing. Uh, okay, here we go. Okay, can you see this now?
Yep.
Okay, so this one here is our Eid Festival. And those are actual members who live in Shelburne. That's their hands. Those are our models. And what it is, the type of event it is that it's going to be our first ever Eid Festival here in Shelburne of this caliber. And what that means is that there's been events like this in other places, such as Brampton, Toronto, Milton, but this is going to be our attempt for the first time here. And we'll have cultural demonstrations with live paintings from artists here. And although the majority of them will be Muslim, we are also going to have non-Muslim, like it's open to everyone. And we'll have henna artists in action for hands and arm henna tattoos. We're going to have sari wearing demonstrations. So, local clothing vendors here in Shelburne are going to be there, and we're going to have volunteers from whoever drops by. It's going to be a free event. There will be art auctions. And there'll be Islamic pottery, Islamic wood art, and we're hoping for the date to be, can you see the date there?
Yep.
June 14th. The venue is to be determined because if you look back on the Excel, I'm just going to bring it back to the Excel. Can you see the Excel or no?
Not right yet.
No.
Okay, stop share. Okay, the Excel. Can you see it now?
No.
No.
Oh,
Yes,
wait.
it's about to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the CDRC is 690, but if we somehow can get insurance before that, it's gonna be 150, but the CDRC provides insurance for us. So that's probably why they charge more, and it's also a much bigger spot. The agricultural center is cheaper, but we're looking around for insurance companies right now to take us on if we want that, because this won't be the first event, obviously. Like this is hopefully one of the first.
Yeah.
So I mean, we do have to get assurance eventually, like now that we fundraise for the center and we want to make it more, right? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing here again, and I'm gonna go back to the other document and share that. So okay, and the budget of the event, as you can see, I'm gonna go back to it later, but what's being asked of the committee is if you would be an equal partner with us, to not only share and enjoy, but as we mentioned, since it's going through this committee, we would like the two council members on this committee to speak. There are two Eids. There's Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr is the one after Ramadan now. But we don't have enough time to plan for that. And when you're fasting and not eating all day, it's just hard to plan anything. But Eid al-Adha is June 14th, or a little earlier, but we're going to do the festival 2 weeks after. And Eid al-Adha starts June 6th and it runs for 3 days. We're going to do the festival after, just because we find on June 6th we visit family and friends. It'll be hard to do a festival. What we do is we celebrate with our best clothes on. And when we celebrate, we want to invite all the neighbors here, like everyone in Shelburne.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to go back to the Excel and leave it with the committee. There. It could be much lower, the price. We're not sure. We just have to see what happens.
For the CDRC, the 690, I'm assuming is for the town and country room.
It's a big room upstairs.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I personally want the agricultural center. It's a 150. We're just in the works of trying to find an insurance company right now.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I don't want to put it down just because I mean I love the Ag Center obviously as being part of the Fair Board, but it is substantially smaller. Like it's the great thing is there's still a kitchen. Now the fee would be a little higher if you need to use the kitchen, but you know, you could always serve drinks out of the kitchen, small, you know, fundraise if you want with food out of the kitchen. It could be culturally related as well. You could do that, and then that would offset, you know, some costs as well. But the hall itself is a bit smaller. I mean, I think you could still do it in the Ag Center, especially since it's your first year. So, you know, I guess it all depends on how many participants you think you're going to have, right? If it's a little bit smaller this year, and then you're thinking, okay, let's start off something kind of just small, but you know, quaint and intimate, then you could kind of start off at the Ag Center. And if it's really well attended, or people are like, yeah, I want in next year, I really want to be a vendor, I really want to be, you know, a presenter of what, you know, my art, then you could definitely look at saying, okay, yeah, we're gonna up the space, we're gonna need the CDRC at that point, right? But it just depends. It depends on how many people you think are going to participate, and how many you know, vendors that you may have with regards to, you know, offering the henna, doing the painting, doing the woodwork, doing the pottery, you know, that sort of thing. Because you can create sort of aisles, but then that limits the possibility of doing like a demonstration, for example, right? So if you had a cultural demonstration to do, you may not have the space to have all the vendors and, you know, an open space in the middle to do any kind of cultural demonstration with regards to, you know, maybe dancing or, you know, music or something of that nature. You shouldn't have to worry too much about insurance with the Ag Center, but I always recommend getting insurance, and you could even reach out to someone as simple as like Cruson Insurance for that, and they can offer you an event insurance. So you don't need to worry about, you know, having insurance forever kind of thing, but you could just pay for, in, you know, that specific event, to have insurance for that event. And it's usually not that much, you know, maybe $100, something like that, right? Depending on how much coverage you need.
How much is it extra for the kitchen?
I can't remember. We just discussed this at last night's meeting as well. I think it might be around $250 at the most. I believe.
So if
it's
you're
not
150, but plus 2 plus another 100, you're almost better off going with the bigger venue.
Yeah, that's true. If the 690 includes the insurance.
450, yeah.
Because I haven't rented the CDRC in a little while. So the last time I rented it, it was like $500 for the CDRC or for the Town and Country Room, but then I had to supply my own insurance on top of that. So if the 690 includes the insurance, then it's not a bad deal.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to check into, but that's great. We just booked the venues, but we didn't decide which one yet.
Right.
The CDRC wanted a credit card, but we know it's free, so we haven't put down our credit card yet on the CDRC until we maybe another week goes by.
Okay.
Alice, you were saying you had forgotten something from the budget. Did you include the historical thing that we agreed to last meeting? The $2,000, was it $2,000 sponsorship?
Yes. Yes, I did
okay.
include that.
Okay.
Okay, so anything more to say about your event? I think if we don't have anything else to talk about, we're at the end of the meeting.
Well, what Bella is asking for, Linda, is a partnership that the committee commit to. If Bella wants to go, she can go, because she can't be part of this conversation because of her conflict. And then the committee can discuss if this is something that they want to be a part of, and if so, if they want to sponsor.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Sorry I'm not there to vote on the motion of
No
adjournment.
problem, Bella.
Yeah.
That's all. See you later.
Hi,
Have a
Bella.
great night. Oh, and March 16th, we're sponsoring the iftar dinner for Ramadan at the mosque. We'd like to invite everyone here. March
What day is
16th.
that?
It's a Sunday, March 16th.
What time?
It's usually like 6:30. Whenever sunset is, that's when we eat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
Kyle, March 16th, we're inviting you to the DMC for iftar dinner. My family's personally sponsoring it.
I know how delicious it is.
Okay.
I've been, both Kyle and I have been, so we know how delicious it is.
Okay, so I'll leave now. Thank you so much for any consideration. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
thanks, Bella.
Thanks. See you
Bye.
later, Bella.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, so, any comments to make?
Yeah, I mean,
I have a comment. I feel like, we're arts, culture, and heritage, and we deal with arts, we deal with heritage, and I really think we need to deal with culture. And the Muslim community is a huge
Yeah.
part of our community, and I think this would be a really good way of showcasing their culture and the art effects of their culture.
Yeah, and I think we can promote it through the town, like, to market it, because there's a lot of people that have moved into town that may not even know how many people are living here that would be involved in that type of thing. I think it'd be great for everybody.
yep.
So do we need to make a motion for that?
Well, I guess we need to decide on a dollar amount to sponsor at that point then.
Right.
So we are getting low.
Quite tight. Yes.
But we have some. So, they're looking at, like her number said, $4,500 or so.
At the bottom of her spreadsheet, they were asking for just over 2.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but we still have enough. We do
That I
have
could not
enough.
see. So that's what I thought it would be around a 2. Yeah.
Why don't we make a motion to contribute $2,000 towards their event?
Okay, so
And
you're
then
making a
as
motion and-
opposed to a 50-50 of an unknown number,
Right.
we
Yes.
just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're making the motion. Can I get a seconder for that?
100%.
Lindsay?
Yeah, sure. I mean, well, Kyle had his hand up, so
Oh, I can't see Kyle's hand.
that's okay.
I don't see his face either.
I'm here.
Okay, good. All right, all in favor? That's carried. Great.
Yep.
So do we have any other new business? Because I think that. we've gone through
No,
much.
not really. I mean, just quickly, I don't want to keep you guys because I'm also hungry. I did speak with Kevin Bowler about the potential for doing a mural on the building that runs directly on the east side of Owen Sound Street. So it's the really, it's got a name, but I can't remember what the heck it's called. But it's that old building that kind of wraps the corner and goes down 89. So it has on the very corner was the old bank, and he had it at one point as a hawk shop, basically.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so just before that unit, I guess you could say, where the hawk shop was, starts, there's sort of like a flat piece that jets out a little bit. So that could be kind of a neat area to have a mural on. So again, we may not have any money this year because we are dwindling down. Plus we are putting up already 3 this year, which I think is phenomenal. So, but I just thought I would mention it, that he is speaking with the owner of the building to see if he would be interested in allowing us to do something like that. It would likely be what we did in JD Park, which would be vinyl directly onto the brick, because I'm not sure that we could really apply a secondary panel on that, because it might stick out a little bit too much into where the sidewalk is. But yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up kind of briefly as new business, just for something for us to sort of have as information that, there could be a possibility for a spot that would be very noticeable in the downtown core. Like it would be almost just at the lights. So it could be really cool and fairly large, to have something really neat, put on that side. I
So
did
how
ask
big would
him,
you say it would be?
pardon?
Do you have an idea about the size?
No,
Or-
unfortunately. I mean, it's decent, from my, my memory. But I haven't gone out to like actually measure it or anything, because again, I don't know yet if the owner would even be interested in it. But I did, like I said, have a little conversation with Kevin, and he said he will sort of mention it for us and see if he'd be willing. I did ask about the small little square on the end of the building in the little like laneway, I guess you could say, between the Royal Bank and the African grocer.
Oh, yeah, on
But
that wall there.
apparently, yeah, because I mean, right now there's like nothing in there, right? It's an old,
No.
like broken down bakery sign. So I was hoping to maybe get that little spot, but he said that they're actually working on permits for new, fresh advertising to actually go in there. So
Oh,
that spot unfortunately isn't available, but he recommended the other spot, and I was like, ooh, I never even kind of thought of that spot. So yeah, so just, I wanted to mention it, but I don't have any final approvals or anything of that nature. I just thought I'll mention it for now, and then it's something maybe we can think about as a location for next year's mural,
Yeah,
when
right.
we decide to do something. So yeah,
that sounds good.
otherwise I'm good.
Okay, so if we don't have anything else new, can I get a motion for adjournment? Kyle? And seconded by Lindsay? All in
Sure.
favor? Thank you. That was a good meeting.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
productive.
Yes.